Hi, this is Rashid from Unit. This is Orman, Nada on the camera doing the film work. Great job so far. So obviously guys, we're throwing out workouts for you to be doing daily challenges as well. Alongside that though, very important aspect when it comes to training is injury prevention and basically body maintenance. So what we want to go through with you guys today is just some little tips of how we can just use a ball. You can use anything from a spiky ball, a cross ball, tennis ball, anything like that, something you got at home. And we're going to teach you basically how you can start working through aspects of your body just to release some tension. The main focus is going to be on the soft tissue itself, so the muscle, and also the fascia. So the fascia, for those of you that don't know, is basically a web that covers the connective tissue and packs it. It naturally is cross-sectional in origin, so it has your fascia running from the top of the shoulder down to the front of the foot, and the same with the posterior, the back side of the body as well. Today we're going to keep it nice and simple. Big thing for most people, you play football, you're a football guy, football coach. Hamstrings.
Yeah.
Am I right?
Yeah.
Hamstrings huge, always really super tight. People are always having issues with them. They can contribute to a load of problems, predominantly in with the pelvis and into the lower back. And we tend to see a lot of problems with the hamstrings when we're doing sort of de-acceleration movements, sometimes acceleration as well. Those explosive movements change the directions. So today, nice and easy, we just want to learn how to release the hamstring. Okay? So all you're going to need is a ball. We've got a box here today. You can use a chair, you can use anything like that. Something with a little bit of give in the surface is great. Otherwise, hard surface will be fine. You may need to adjust what type of ball you're using. So for those of you that are more experienced with this type of process, you use something that's a bit tougher, okay? A tennis ball is good to start with, would be my advice, especially if you've got a hard surface. If you still struggle with it, get a towel, and you can put it over the ball, and that gives you a little bit more give, okay? So nice and easy, almost sat on the bench. All we're gonna work through, guys, is that muscle belly, the hamstring muscle belly. You're gonna have a lot of trigger points in this area, so if you have a stand up, face the wall for the guys, okay? So definitely in these sort of areas here, you're going to have basically 4 muscles within your hamstrings, okay? And they're going to be attaching towards the outside of the knees and up and towards the pelvis as well, okay? So usually this mid-belly area is where you get most of the problems. So we're going to be working on different trigger zones through here and teach how to get it done, okay? So you're going to take a ball. Orman's going to have a seat on the bench there for us. What you want to do is you want to lift the knee up. You want to place the ball underneath. All I want you to do, Orman, find me an area that's a little bit tender. So he's going to do a little bit of rolling technique. When he finds that hot spot, he's going to look to see if he can apply some pressure. So you can release the knee, okay? Your 2 control points with this is going to be what you do with the knee and what you do with the hip, okay? So if I get Orman now, he's got his pressure point. He can apply some pressure with the hands on top of it if he wants. Okay, you should feel it a little bit now. And he can start to lean forward from the hip. Okay, the hamstring attaches above the hip, so if we move the hip, okay, into flexion, we're getting more of a stretch. So he can actually work forwards and backwards in that motion to release the fascia or the soft tissue, okay? However, we can also play around with the knee. So now if I get Orman to extend the knee, you should start feeling the tension start to build, and we're gonna come back down. All you need to do is literally work through repetitions. So you might go for 10 repetitions with the knee, you might work through the hip. Another option you've got as well is bring the hip forward and now extend the knee. You've got even more tension on that trigger point, okay? So we can work through this with this process. We can also bring the knee down, and you can see it's quite tender, yeah? We can actually start to pivot side to side and work transversely in between the fibers as well. So there's many options. The main thing is not to be too specific about it, just target that area. Before you're doing any movements, if you want to relax the whole process, okay? And if the tenderness is enough just like that, nice deep breath, and breathing out, and you just want to relax. Eventually you'll start to feel it release a little bit, okay? So that's the key. Nice, relaxed breathing, work in nice slow motion, and you can, if you want, test that out, where you can do a leg raise potentially, or you can go into your toes and see if you get a little bit more range of motion. Otherwise, it's a very good maintenance exercise. It's super simple. All you need is a tennis ball, and again, just work on those release techniques. You can put it in on your rest days, active recovery, and you can do it as post-workout as well.
Can you do that on the adductors, abductors, quads?
Yeah, it's a very similar process. You can work into adductors as well. You can pretty much apply this principle to all areas of your body. As long as you know what movement you need to incorporate, that's the main thing. So if you're working in your glutes, Same thing, if you're working into the lower back, which we'll do a video on for you guys as well, it's the same principle. You're putting that pressure in and you're looking to release it. It's not something that's going to give you complete relief from your problem, because biomechanically you're going to have some issues that you need to address. There's imbalances that you need to address, improving core activation as well as the stability of your body so that your limbs can move efficiently. But overall, it's going to give you a window of opportunity to go and do what you need to do. So that's why we use it mostly. It's not about really smashing it in. I know a lot of people are foam rolling these days and really going for it. That's not really what we want to work on. We want to get a very gentle input into the fascia, to the muscle, to let it release out. And then we can look at, why do you have the tightness in the hamstring? Is there something mechanical is going on?
Within sport, a lot of people now are depending on foam rollers within starting a session or finishing a session. So when you say that you want to do it more gentle, would you say take away the foam rollers? Or
I mean, for me personally, I think with a ball, you can do so much more. I think you're a lot more specific. I think with a foam roller, the problem is you've got to, first of all, have very good upper body strength to actually maintain the rolling posture and hold the position. So I'm sure you've done IT band releases. It's really difficult to hold it. So for me, using something like this and a host of other tools which we'll try and incorporate in some of the videos we'll do for you guys in the future, roller sticks, as I said, tennis balls, foam rollers, blocks, you can do so much. Massage guns are coming out, you've got the Hypervolts, Theragun, all of these sort of things as well. So there's loads of different options, and you'll be amazed at what you can do just at home, even with a broomstick, to release certain points in your body. So we want to obviously bring this to the guys at home and show them how we can do it.
what I find there was, whenever I've foam rolled before, I've just rolled it out, but just by dipping the hips or lifting the leg, it targeted the actual pinpoint.
And definitely you can have massages and things like that. The key is really applying a movement to the pressure. That's how you're going to get the best response. You can do the trigger pointing, the static trigger pointing, which is fine.
I don't think a lot of people know about that.
It's all about applying the movement. So as we said, the hamstring actually attaches to the front of the knees here. So we know if you get knee extension, you feel the hamstring. You bring it down, bring the hip forward, hamstring attaches above the hip. So you've got two areas, two switches to play with.
When I did the lateral,
and you can do a lateral movement as well, so you're still getting some length change in the hamstring. So what we want to do really is keep it super easy for people. Just teaching the basics. Obviously there's a lot of science behind it. We can get really into the detail about how the fascia responds and how it's built. But the complications make it gives a bit of a barrier for people to do it. So I say to people, get a chair, get a tennis ball, and you can actually work up and down the whole hamstring, so you can change that position, come a little bit further down.
Feel that.
And you'll start to learn where your tender areas are. And you'll know from your left and your right if there's an imbalance where you need to target as well. And then we can talk about in the future other things and how we use quad activation as well to release this. So we can do a second video on this after if the guys at home want it, where we can actually apply a band here and I can give you resistance against the quad extension. And it's going to create a response in the hamstring where it releases more. So you can wrap a band, attach it to the wall, and work with resistance in the quad to get a counter release. So that's what we got for you guys. Any questions, any feedback, let us know. If you want to see us work through any other areas of the body, let us know. That's it.
Thank you so much. That was amazing. Thank you so much. Thank you. Wow, that's amazing.